Welcome to Skills and Academic Tuition Center. In this video, we are going to look at the periodic table. Okay, so now we look at the periodic table. So a periodic table shows the arrangement of elements in order of 1. Increasing atomic number. So when we say increasing atomic number, so you have to understand what atomic number is. So atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. So the total number of protons in the nucleus of an atom, that is what we are calling as the atomic number. So it is arrangement of elements in order of the increasing atomic number. That is the first one. Then the second one is about the similarity in chemical properties. So what it means is that all the elements that are going to be put in a certain arrangement will have the similar properties. So now, these elements represent 3 important things on the periodic table. So one of the things that they represent is metals. So we are saying some of these elements on the periodic table are metals. The other representation here is non-metals. So some of them are non-metals. Then we also have what we are calling as metalloids. What we are calling as the metalloids. So on the right side of the periodic table, these are said to be non-metals. Then we have this left side of the periodic table, these are what we are calling as the metals. So these elements, they fall under metals, or they are metals. Then these other elements, the other side, they are non-metals. Now, what about the metalloids? For the metalloids, these are elements that show both properties of a metal and as well as a non-metal. So these are the ones that we are calling as the metalloids, the elements that lie along this zigzag line. They are the ones that we are calling as the metalloids. So basically that is the representation which is there whenever you are dealing with the periodic table. So now, this periodic table is divided into 2. It is divided into 2. So we are going first of all to look at the first division. So the first division is known as the group. So on the periodic table, there are 8 groups on the periodic table. So, and these groups are what we are calling as the vertical columns. So when you look at this periodic table, we have this one as our first group, then we have this other one as our second group, then this one as our third group, fourth group, fifth, sixth, then we have the 7th group and the 8th group. So those are the groups that we have on the periodic table. Now, for the arrangement of elements in groups is dependent on the valence electrons. So if an element has got 3 valence electrons, then it means that element is going to be found in group 3. If an element has got 2 valence electrons, then it means that element is going to be found in group 2. So if we have this as group 1, meaning all the elements arranged in this group will have 1 valence electron. So the elements that are arranged in each and every group have similar chemical properties and as well as physical properties, and their reactivity series for these metals, their reactivity series increases as you go down the group. So as you are going down the group, the reactivity series increases. So as you go down the group, the reactivity series increases. Now, why is it that the reactivity series is increasing as you go down the group? So this is because there is a decrease in attraction between the nucleus of an atom and the valence electrons. So the valence electrons are easily given out because there is less attraction between the nucleus and as well as the valence electron. Okay, then for the group 7 elements, they have 7 valence electrons, so meaning they are found in group 7, but for them it is opposite to the group 1 and the group 2 elements in terms of the reactivity series. So the reactivity series of group 7 elements increases as you go up the group. So meaning as you go down the group, there is a decrease in reactivity series. And basically this is as a result of the decrease in the forces of attraction between the valence electrons and the nucleus. Okay, so now, apart from the group, we can now look at the period. So for the period, this is the horizontal row period. This is the horizontal row, and there are 7 periods on the periodic table. So we have, we can number them from here. We have period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4, 5, 6, and we have the same one. So we have 7 periods on the periodic table. So now what determines the arrangement of elements in periods? So for the arrangement of elements in periods is dependent on the number of occupied shells in its atomic structure. So for instance, if an element has got 3 shells that are occupied, then that particular element is going to be found in period 3. If an element has got 4 shells that are occupied, then it means it is going to be found in period 4. So we look at this example. Where we have aluminium. So here we want to find out the group for aluminium and as well as the period in which aluminium is found. So in order for you to be able to determine that, first of all, you have to write the electron configuration for aluminium. So the electron configuration for aluminium will show or give us the number of shells that are occupied and as well as the number of electrons in the outermost shell. So for aluminium, which has got 13 electrons, so the first shell is going to have 2, then the second shell is going to have 8, then we have the third shell which is going to have 3. So when we add these, we are going to have 13. So meaning when we look at where 2 is, this is our first shell, then this is our second shell, and this is our third shell. So in the third shell, we've got 3 electrons, 3 valence electrons. So meaning the group in which aluminium is found in group 3. Then for the period, you count the number of shells that are filled. So we have 1, 2, 3, so meaning also in period 3. So another example, oxygen. So oxygen has 8 electrons. So these 8 electrons are supposed to be filled in the NH levels or in shells. So the first shell is going to accommodate 2 and it will be fully filled. The second one is going to accommodate 6. So we have the first shell and the second shell. So for the period in which oxygen is found in period 2. But what about the group? So now for the group, we are going to look at the valence electrons, the electrons in the outermost shell. So there are 6 electrons. So this simply tells us that oxygen is in period 2, group 6 on the periodic table. So now let's think of calcium, which has got 20 electrons. In which group and period is calcium found? Thank you for watching. Value for education, our pride.